This year, 48.2% of people who pass away will be cremated. By 2030, it's expected to be over 70%. My name is Mark Clark, and I am the General Manager of Henry Funeral Home and Cremation Center. Welcome to Cremation 101. Almost every day I meet with a family that is considering cremation for their loved one. I find families choosing traditional burial know what questions to ask, but families choosing cremation don't always know the questions. That's why we've created this presentation, so that you can learn the questions to ask and the issues to consider regardless of which funeral home or cremation service you select. You know, most people in Stanton know us from attending one of our services at the funeral home or seeing our cars in a procession, or perhaps we served their family before. Some people have seen our unique horse-drawn carriage. Some people know one of our great team members. One of the things our team recently accomplished was to create a unique guarantee we call Exceptional Family Care. It's something we're very proud of. Point number 1 clearly states, we guarantee to respect your budget. We believe the best way to do that is to make sure that you have all the information you need to make a good decision. Our goal today, highlight the top 4 issues you should consider when choosing cremation. To revisit the stats I quoted earlier, this is a color-coded map of the U.S. States in red are already over 60% cremation. Some people choose cremation based on their cultural traditions, and some for environmental concerns, others for cost savings. You can see here in Virginia, we're in the 31 to 40% bracket, but I can tell you that this percentage is growing. Sadly, some funeral homes do everything they can to fight this shift towards cremation. We think that's wrong. At Henry Funeral Home and Cremation Center, we believe that cremation only addresses the deceased, but 90% of what we do is for the family and friends surviving. So if you're considering cremation, what issues should you consider? You know, price is often the first and only question we're asked. The reality is that prices vary a lot amongst funeral homes and cremation services. They vary because of 4 big issues, and it's those 4 issues that most people don't know about. Issue number 1, wondering, whose remains are in the urn? It's important to know for sure that you have your loved one's remains. But do a Google search on cremation mistakes and you'll find over 400,000 results. It happens all too often. Sometimes the coroner makes a mistake. But sometimes it's not a mistake. It's criminal. This is the case that happened in 2002 in Georgia, 300 bodies that were supposed to be cremated. Instead, the families received boxes of charcoal ashes. Another scandal. This one involved bodies that were donated to science and then were supposed to be cremated. Instead, the crematory owner shipped the family a random box of ashes. A funeral director made a mistake and has sent the wrong body to the crematory and then tried to cover it up. This family was supposed to have a chance to see their father one last time, but the cremation service picked him up from the corner and took him straight to the crematory. This is a sad case of someone breaking into a funeral home and stealing urns, dumping the ashes, and selling the urn for scrap metal. Bottom line is, you should be very concerned about security. Here are some very specific questions you should ask. Do you own the crematory? Is it on premises? If not, how often do you inspect it and how do you transport to that crematory? What is your security process to guarantee that I will receive my loved one's remains? Is your crematory operator certified? Can I witness the cremation? And how do you secure your facility? To answer those questions on behalf of Henry Funeral Home and Cremation Center, do we own the crematory? Yes, we do. Is it on premises? Absolutely. It's in the building. No need to transport, and we inspect it every time we use it. What is the security process to guarantee I will receive my loved one's remains? Well, we have a multi-layered cremation identification tagging process. We'll be glad to go through that step by step with every single person that is interested. Is your crematory operator certified? We have 5 certified crematory operators on staff. Can I witness the cremation? We do have a viewing window that allows for witnessing the cremation itself. And the final question is, how do you secure your facility? We have a state-of-the-art alarm and security system built into the building itself that is connected directly to local police and fire as necessary. Saying goodbye to your loved one is never easy. Unfortunately, in today's culture, many people try to skip this step. The sad reality is that failing to say goodbye to someone you love leaves emotional wounds that may never heal. One of the first questions I'm always asked by a family is, can we see him? Can we see her? It's natural. We need to see it to make it real. A good analogy is that the loss of a loved one is a personal 9/11. Most people can tell you exactly where they were when they heard the news about the planes hitting the Twin Towers. Across the nation, we flocked to our televisions because we needed to see it for ourselves, to make it real. But I can also tell you the exact place I was standing when I lost loved ones of my own, and the desperate need to see just one last time for myself. Here's some questions you should ask. Can the immediate family see the deceased? It's not uncommon for people to say they don't want a public visitation, but that doesn't take away the fact that family needs to see that loved one just like they had to see the Twin Towers on the television. Do they have to be in a casket? Some funeral homes will make you buy a casket just so you can see your loved one. What will the room be like? You will remember every detail of this experience, including what the room was like. Did you know that some discount cremation services operate out of storage sheds? That's not something you want your family to see. Can we have a private time before the public visitation? Seeing your loved one is necessary and tears will be shed. It's best to do that privately before opening it up to the public. At Henry Funeral Home, we have comfortable rooms for a private or public visitation. And yes, we have caskets. In fact, we have one of the largest selection rooms in the area. For families who do not want to use a casket, we also have other options available. You will always have a private farewell that is dignified and memorable. There is a sad misconception that should you choose cremation, you can't have a ceremony. Years ago, there were some church denominations that wouldn't allow a memorial ceremony if the body was being cremated. That's definitely not the case anymore. You can have a ceremony, and if the weather cooperates, an outdoor ceremony can be beautiful and absolutely memorable. Churches are an option, but there are a lot of people today that don't have a relationship with the church. What about those families? Here are 3 questions you should ask your cremation provider. Do you have an on-site chapel we can use? How many people can it accommodate? And do you have a chaplain who can lead our service and guide us through? At Henry Funeral Home, yes, we do have an on-site chapel. It seats nearly 300 with overflow in several side rooms available. Do we have a chaplain who can lead our service? We have 2 chaplains on staff, Russell Heinrich, who's a United Methodist pastor locally, and also Clay Sterrett, who is also a local pastor in Stanton. He also leads our aftercare program, which we feel is of vital importance to all families we serve. The last issue has to do with dozens of administrative items that need to be taken care of when someone dies. Has anyone ever had to unravel an estate? It's a lot of work, isn't it? Even if you planned ahead and were extremely well organized, this can take months to complete. Here are the questions you should ask. Administrative help. This is from the cremation provider and should be included with the cost of cremation at no additional charge. Referrals. Complex estates may need legal help. And what about grief support? Next Steps isn't just about administrative help. It's about the grief support as well. Some of your family members will need help getting back on the normal path of life. A good cremation provider recognizes this need and provides that support either directly or by referring you to community resources. At Henry Funeral Home and Cremation Center, helping you with the next steps is a big part of what we do. Whether it's obtaining more copies of the death certificate or help you file for other benefits, we're always here to help. Cremation prices vary from place to place because the level of service in each of these areas vary. Some will cut corners on security, and you're left wondering whose remains are in the urn. Some won't have the facility for a private farewell, so your family won't have that closure that they so need and want. Some won't be able to help with the ceremony, and some will leave all the details on your to-do list as you attempt to take the next steps. At Henry Funeral Home and Cremation Center, we call our cremation service At Peace Cremation. We address all 4 parts of the puzzle so that your loved one will be at peace and your family can be at peace too. The loss of a loved one is so hard. At times like that, you need help from people who can lighten that burden for you. Whether you spend $2,000 or $10,000 on a cremation service, if that service doesn't meet your emotional, spiritual, and practical needs, then you've spent too much.